Kyle Filipowski's grasping the opportunity, showing his skills, and showing he can be a part of the Utah Jazz moving forward. It's next on Locked on Jazz. Bum 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 pow.
You are Locked on Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network. Your team every day.
How are you? I am David Locke. On today's episode of Locked on Jazz, we'll look at Trends Monday and we'll look at the lottery standings. The Jazz have a major problem going on with one of the other teams in the NBA right now. We'll redraft the 2024 draft, kind of, sort of, with a little bit of a look at it after we dig into Kyle Filipowski and how he's playing first. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel's giving you a way to turn the energy into even bigger potential wins in the college basketball parlay profit boost. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. Jazz and the Warriors tonight. By the way, if you're coming to the game, we still have ArenaCast going on. ArenaCast is download the Event Sound app. You can listen to Ron and I live, no lag in the arena. It's there for you. We're the only ones in the NBA that are doing ArenaCast. So make sure you grab that, bring your noise-canceling headphones or one, so you can still be a little social, and download the Sound Event app. It's right there. It's no lag, and you get the exclusive Inside the Arena broadcast. I thought Kyle Filipowski against Milwaukee was one of the best games I've seen from him on a bunch of different levels, and it's showing me more and more that Kyle Filipowski can be a part of this Jazz team next year as a pretty, maybe not a sexy piece, but an important piece. And what I really think is you're going to have Walker Kessler. You may have Jusuf Nurkic. Feels that way. You're going to have Lauri Markkanen. You're going to have Jaren Jackson Jr. playing most of the 4 and 5 minutes. And so you're going to need someone that when Jaren misses some games and Lauri misses some games and Nurk misses some games and Walker misses some games, who can fill in. And you're really going to need someone on a salary standpoint who can play both positions. And while Kyle is not a good center and he's not built to be a center, his arms are too short and he's not very vertical, he does it adequately for a backup third big, filling in for 15 minutes. If you have to do it for 40 minutes, for 40 games, you're in trouble. But he's also showing some real signs offensively of doing things and making plays. And then on the other end, I would say he's getting to the point where his weaknesses have gotten good enough that his strengths can shine. And that's really the line Will Hardy's used in the past that I think is important. Get to the point where your weaknesses are good enough that your strengths can shine. Now, the other night, Kyle goes 4 of 11. He goes 1 of 5 from 3. So why do I like his performance so much? Well, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 blocks, a steal, and 5 free throws, all of which he makes. To me, some nights the shots go in, some nights the shots don't go in. His plus minus was not particularly good. I'm not sure I can look at plus minus right now with the variable lineups we're using and things we're playing with throughout the night. I do think that one thing that was pretty decent was the Jazz held off the Bucks on the glass that night in a pretty good fashion. But what really I like the most is the centers for Milwaukee were Miles Turner in the 18 minutes that Doc Rivers actually played him and Bobby Portis in the 17 minutes that he actually played him. And then they fiddled around and did the things we do this time of year when you're worried about standings. But for 36 minutes of the night, Kyle was going up against marquee bigs. I thought, in Washington, Isaiah Collier was awesome, but on those final plays, he beats Will Riley. He should be able to beat Will Riley. Will Riley is a spindly 19-year-old rookie who doesn't have any idea how to defend, and it was like when we used to throw Cody Williams last year up against big-time defenders just so he could get the experience, frankly, of what it is to get your butt kicked. And that's what Isaiah Collier did the other night to Will Riley. These are, like, Bobby Portis is slowing down dramatically, but these are big-time bigs. And frankly, on one of the drives by Kyle Filipowski, he tries to attack over the top of Miles Turner. He can't do it, and he misses the shot. Okay, that's fine. But over the last post-All-Star break or even back it up 14 games, Kyle's playing and getting the opportunity. He's shooting 53% from the field. The stretches are about the same if it's post-All-Star break or last 14. Post-All-Star breaks are starts. He's shooting 35% from 3, which is interesting about him because I've said this about Kyle before. he's never a 35% three-point shooter. He's either like 50%, which he was there for like 15 games, or he's 15%. He and his coach, Mike Williams, are working to just get him more consistent. He's a 35% three-point shooter, which is slightly below average, but it's, for what I'm talking about, it's adequate. And then the thing that's most pleasing is he's going to the free throw line and he's making his free throws. He's always been a surprisingly poor free throw shooter. But he's gone to the line against New Orleans 9 times, Denver 9 times, Milwaukee 5 times, Houston 6 times, 8 times against Miami, 5 against Orlando and Atlanta. So a level of physicality to his game that's improved, and he's making 85% of his free throws since All-Star break, 82% in the last 14 games. So the numbers are good. But the other things I'm seeing out of Kyle are more physicality on the defensive end, doing a better job when isolated on island. He gets his body twisted. I'm guessing his footwork's not great. He gets his body twisted and turned in funny ways every now and then. And so he ends up committing fouls. And so often he also twists his body and then gets blown by. But those seem less prevalent to me right now than they were earlier this year and earlier last year. At times last year, it was just wow. Not in a wow good way. Wow, and I'm like, wow. But he seems to be sliding his feet better, playing where there are still times you'll see he just gets twisted up. Okay. Like, I actually don't expect growth from players year 1 to year 2. I've said this a lot. If you're an everydayer on the program, you know this. I do not expect growth year 1 to year 2. It's just not what players do. What I'm seeing right now out of Kyle is all sorts of little pieces of growth that I think will allow him to work with Mike Williams very specifically in the offseason to improve. Not expecting a Keontae George jump, but I think you'll see a considerable jump from Kyle year 2 to year 3. He's, if you go back to Kyle's career, and I kind of have twisted here for a second, he was basically one of the number 1 high school players in the country. He was just always bigger and stronger than everyone. He just could overpower. He could do his spin move. He could get someone. All these things, almost everything that Kyle could do in college, he can't do in the NBA. Like, he was bigger and stronger, just finish the rim. Okay, can't do it at the NBA. He actually struggles to finish at the rim. He was bigger and stronger and could just clear people out for rebounds. Can't do it in the NBA. Though the last 3 games, 11, 14, and 11 rebounds. This is what I like. And we're watching him learn how to use his physicality, learning what the things are he has to do to be successful in this league. And then I think you'll see him work on all those things, which is always the pattern. The pattern is year 1 to year 2, you work on the things you failed at. You don't get any better. Year 2 to year 3, you work on the things you can be good at and you get better. So I think we're going to see a much better Kyle Filipowski next year. I think, frankly, at $3 million, he's vital to us. I think his ability to play both the 4 and the 5 and be the 5th big is vital to us. And I think he's playing really well. 2 plays that are just neat. He got the ball at the top of the circle, right above the three-point line. And we're trying to run off-ball action, in which Kyle is terrific at. It's the 6 assists in 2 of the last 4 games. And we couldn't get the ball to each guy. At which point, Kyle put it on the deck and drove once with a left hand at Bobby Portis and finished. And then the next time drove and threw a beautiful pass to the corner when the defense succumbed. I don't remember if it turned out to be an assist or not. What's important there that Kyle brings to the table that most people don't is you can have Walker Kessler out there as a big running the off-ball actions or the handoffs or those kind of things. But most guys aren't able to then adjust and have in their opportunities the possibility of putting it on the deck and making a play. And then there are even fewer guys who can put a ball on the deck, drive, and after multiple dribbles, make that pass. So those are pretty terrific skills. There are areas where Kyle is just limited vertically. He's never going to be good. He's not particularly good. Transition, I always think, is the number 1 sign of like whether someone's an athlete. He's not a good transition guy. But we're going to see him be good at a bunch of other aspects of this game, and he's going to figure it out. And we're seeing those signs, and then he brings depth and versatility to what he's doing that's pretty great for the Utah Jazz. In fact, while the Jazz may have not hit on their 10th pick of that draft, Kyle at 32 is pretty good. Let's redraft that draft and look at some other Kyle's draft growth numbers next. I want to show you where he really, despite feeling so much better, has actually not improved yet. Why there's a big jump that's still available next year. And then we'll redraft 2024 for a second as we continue on a Monday edition of Locked on Jazz. Today's show is brought to you by Murdoch Chevy, located in Woods Cross and in Logan, the Chevy truck. That's Americana, my friends. The Murdochs, that's Utah. That's a pretty perfect combination. When you put Chevys and Murdoch together, I'm allergic to nuts, so I can't really tell if it's like peanut butter and chocolate, but it seems like a very, very perfect combination. Americana and Utah right there. 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500. You can get back about a little over $7,000 between cash allowances and supplier discounts. If you're a Costco member, you add on to that even more. It's awesome. It's all going on at Truck Month right now at Murdoch Chevy. 2026 Silverados 1500, Colorado Silverado HD, Silverado EVs. The Costco executive member incentive is $1,250. So that's going for you. Also, all sorts of pricing deals going on with the 2026 Silverado 1500. It's all at Murdoch Chevy right now. If you're heading over there and you want the VIP treatment you deserve by being a Locked On Everydayer, email me at dlock09@gmail.com. That's dlock09@gmail.com, and let us get you the Everydayer VIP treatment that you deserve by being a listener to Locked On. That is all over at Murdoch Chevy. Today's show is also brought to you by Quo. Quo. Get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/LockedOnNBA. Spring is a natural reset point, and if there's one thing that can quietly cost businesses money, it's messy communication, missed calls, scattered texts, no clear thread of who said what, and that's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, Q-U-O, a smarter way to run your business communications. Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2 with over 3,000 reviews, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, lets your entire team share one business number so you never miss a call or a text or opportunity. Here's the greatest part. Everyone lives on one clear thread, calls, texts, voicemails, the whole team sees the conversation. Nothing falls through the cracks. It just makes business more organized and more responsive. Make this season the season of opportunity with no missed customers and no customers slipping away. Try Quo for free. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. Get 20% off your first 6 months. Quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's Quo.com/LockedOnNBA. QUO. No missed calls, no missed customers. Today's show is also brought to you by Prize Picks. Use the code LockedOnNBA. Download the app today and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks is now giving you $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup, and it makes every dunk, assist, big play more exciting. Prize Pick is the #1 daily fantasy sports pick app. It's super simple to play. Here's what you like about Prize Picks. More or less on 2 to 6 stat projections. Just choose more or less. If you're right, you cash in. Build your lineups. Basketball, baseball's coming, hockey, college hoops, whatever it might be. And early payouts. If your player gets off to a hot start, you may have the option to cash out winnings before the game even finishes. Fun way to test your sports knowledge. Stay locked into the action. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code LockedOnNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LockedOnNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Thanks so much for making Locked On Jazz your first listen of the day. Thank you to the Everydayer Club. You guys are the best. If you want to be a part of our all-access Everydayer Club, do so at lockedonjazz.supercast.com. All right, here's some interesting notes on Kyle where I say I don't expect improvement. We really haven't seen it yet. So if we just look at Kyle's shooting accuracy, he spent the offseason working on how to finish at the rim better. He's finishing, according to Clean the Glass, at 67%. And last year, he was at 66%. Last year, he took 151 shots at the rim. He made 100. This year, he's taking 153. He's made 103. Like literally almost the exact same. His floater game is actually a little less good. He's at this point of the season, he's actually taken the exact same amount of floaters as he took last year. He was 76 of 135. He's now 60 of 137. So a little less good. His long midi game is a little less good. So his mid-range game has slipped from 55% last year, which was probably unnatural, to 43% in the exact same, literally 144 attempts to 141 to 144. His corner threes, this is incredible, by the way. For whatever reason, well, his minutes are close. At the 63 game mark of this season, he's done exactly the same amount of shots in almost every category as he did at the 71 minute mark, except for above the break threes. He just took a ton more last year. And this year he stayed away from it, which has been probably smart. So his corner threes, he's down a tiny bit from 36 to 33. That's just work. He'll get that done. His non-corner threes, 35% and 35%. It's the exact same. His overall shooting is down a tiny bit, but it's almost the exact same across the board, is my point. His defensive rebounding. Last year, he got 20.5% of all available defensive rebounds. This year, he gets 20.6. It's almost the exact same. He's getting 1% more offensive rebounds. He is committing a foul more a game, which is a little bit more fouling. He's fouling at a pretty high rate, but okay. He's also blocking shots a tiny bit more, and he's getting a few more steals. So I think that's just being active and physical, and I'm not particularly worried about it. But it's just really interesting that I think he's gotten a lot better. I think you can see him growing. I think you can see him finding the ways he is improving. And yet, if you dig into the numbers, none of them are really there. What that says to me is that none of the things where he's beginning to learn how to do things and get better have kicked in yet. And that's where year 2 to year 3 offseason should be really productive for him and let him suddenly do things he hasn't done. He's 22 years old. He's ready. He's physically maturing. He's going to get bigger. And I think we'll see him begin to get, a good deal better in what he's doing. If you look at kind of his trends of who he is as a player and what he's doing, it is on a nice upward trajectory. I thought, frankly, mid-January was a little tough, and he's really picked it up from there. So, very positive. All right, if we were to redraft the 2024 draft, and I didn't do it that dramatically, but it's interesting. It's about as wild a redraft ever. It's about as poor a draft as we've ever had. So Stephen Castle, who's shooting only 30% from three in his career, a little better recently, would probably be number 1. He was rookie of the year. And Alex Sarr would still be 2. And I would suggest that Zach Edey, unless someone knew something about his foot, and maybe he's never coming back, I mean, he's just that big, would be number 3. I think Zach Edey's actually been really, really good when he's played. Keyshawn George of the Bucks might be number 4 on the draft, which is interesting, right? Because he was in the 20s. It gets a little bit of hard to tell, and we're 2 years in, so kind of doing this off performance, but Buzelis would be number 5. So for those who want to, he was 11. That's the one where the Jazz probably had a choice between Buzelis and Cody Williams. And that is looking to be a regretful decision as of this moment in time. Buzelis couldn't shoot in the G League and shooting 37% from 3. And he's an incredible athlete, and on a not very good team, he's averaging 15.6 rebounds and 2 assists and averaging a block and a half, and probably it's going to turn out to be good. I think AJ Mitchell, who's played real minutes for Oklahoma City, probably goes next. Jalen Tyson, who was a late first-round draft pick, shooting 46% for Cleveland in important minutes and is a rotation player for one of the best teams in the NBA and shooting 50% from the field, I think would probably go next, but maybe higher. Khalil Ware has been mercurial, but is pretty darn good and has shown some real signs. Would probably go at 8. Reed Shepherd and Jared McCain would probably be 9, 10. What a crazy draft, right? Jalen Wells, who was a second-round pick, 11. Then maybe Donovan Clingan, still just with his size and everything about him, though I'm not totally sold here on that, would go next at 11. And then maybe Kyle Filipowski. Zachary Richache would still be on the board, but he's averaging 10 points, 4 rebounds, and assist in 24 minutes and just not impactful at all, shooting 58% from the free throw line, not going to the line. Tristan De Silva's been okay out of Colorado, but frankly, I think Kyle's probably been as good or more versatile in the same amount of time. Ron Holland, who was the 4th or 5th pick of the draft, is shooting 22% from 3, really cannot shoot it, down to 20 minutes a night, playing less and less. There's Ryan Dunn's floating around there somewhere. Isaiah Collier, frankly, gets around here somewhere. I think if you read Bub Carrington, who I was super unimpressed with the other night, if you start to fiddle around with this draft, I think you end up, and Osho Ighodaro probably deserves to be mentioned in here somewhere. He's playing 21 minutes a night for Phoenix and kind of a defensive player, non-offensive player. But it's a pretty interesting draft to just kind of see where the guys fit and what they're doing. And I think if you redrafted that draft, Kyle's probably top 15. Maybe. I don't think top 10. I thought at dinner the other night with some people, I thought he might be top 10. The other one that's interesting on this draft, by the way, the best three-point shooters are Jalen Tyson, 46%. Cam Spencer, who I think we see Pat Spencer tonight. Pat Spencer might be in here somewhere, 44%. And then Tajon Salon, who plays for Charlotte, is at 43%. Bronny James actually is in there, but he doesn't take any. And Tajon Salon only takes 2 a games. Then Reed Shepard's at 39%. Bub Carrington's at 39%. Jared McCain's at 39%. Tristan De Silva's at 39%. Khalil Ware's at 39%. There's a lot of guys that turned out on a draft that, and then Keyshawn George is at 38%. Baylor Shireman's at 39%. And then everybody else is, I think, below league average. And the one thing on Kyle is Kyle's still at 33.5% for his career, or for this season, which is not okay for 3. Like, that's actually below league average by a good margin. And that might dock Kyle down a little bit. But it's an interesting, right? Like, you still have some guys in this draft. Rob Dillingham was an early pick who's not in this. Dalton Connect is not turning out to be very good. Ron Holland, 23%. Cody obviously struggling. Devin Carter can't shoot yet. The other one in there, by the way, is Yves Missi, but he's really slipped off after a decent year last year. So just kind of an interesting redraft. Look at Kyle. I'm not being definitive about it, but it's a good tribute to where Kyle is and what the front office got out of Kyle and Isaiah, and obviously didn't get out of Cody. But I also would say there's probably never been a draft that's that upside down 2 years in the history of the NBA. So it's probably not surprising that there were some mistakes in there on that draft. All right. Trends Monday, but a major, major, major problem for the Utah Jazz looking ahead. Next on Locked On Jazz. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. College basketball heating up. I don't know if you watched the women's game, but Big Ten UCLA beat the number 2 team and beat the number 18 by 50 yesterday. College basketball nonstop, big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every night. So early tip-offs, West Coast finishes, all the fun. Now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn the energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any college hoops parlay you want, rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits your need. You can mix spreads, totals, player props to match how you see the slate playing out. And then you can apply profit boost and instantly bump up potential payoffs. Look at whatever it might be, whether it's BYU making a little run here, whatever you want to go try to grab into. Does Utah State with their conference championship get to make a run? Go safe, go bold, ride with your team. You've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style now. More upside. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to play your game. Are you in the job market right now? Well, Indeed is here for you. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing. One position you have to fill still sitting open. When the pressure's on, you need to right hire. There's a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Speed sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. Here's an interesting little note. They'll hire 27 people in the minute we talk right now. That's how good Indeed sponsored jobs is. Hiring, spend less time searching, more time interviewing candidates. That's right, less time searching, more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is the job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of the show will get $75 sponsored job credit to help you get the job premium status it deserves. Indeed.com/podcast. Go to Indeed.com/podcast right now. Support your show by saying you heard it on Indeed. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. All right, the Utah Jazz have a real problem. Let's just call it what it is. The Dallas Mavericks are 2-16 the rest of the way. So far, 2-16 in their last 18 games. Here is their schedule the rest of the way. Stop me when you hear a game they're going to win. At Atlanta in the playoff run. At the Grizzlies on Thursday. That's it. This is the only one the rest of the way. Friday, Cleveland. Sunday, Cleveland. Monday at New Orleans. Maybe, but New Orleans is trying to win right now. Home against the Hawks on the 18th. Maybe only because Atlanta, but Atlanta's playing pretty well. Home against the Clippers. Home against the Warriors. Maybe. Jazz have a real chance tonight. At Denver. At Portland. At Dallas. Or at Minnesota. At Milwaukee. Maybe. Home against the Magic. Home against the Lakers. At the Clippers. At the Suns. At the Spurs. Bulls final night. They're not winning 2 more games, Chris. That's 2. They're at 21. New Orleans is going to keep going. So the Jazz are going to be 5 or 6. But 5's way better than 6. 5 keeps us out of the jeopardy of losing the pick. 6 gets us in the jeopardy of losing the pick. I don't think there's any chance the Jazz get into the top 4 because of the fact that those teams are would have to win 3 more games than we do the rest of the way, and I don't think anyone's winning that many games. Indiana's lost 9 straight. Washington's lost 8 straight. Dallas has lost 7 straight. Memphis has lost 3 straight. Yeah. So that's a real conundrum. Is that Dallas is on the verge, I think, of finishing the year 4-38. Is that right? Yes. I think that's right. Yeah. They're 2-6. They're 2 of their last 16. And I think they're going to finish about 2-22 the rest of the way. And that makes them 4-38 to close the year. Dallas does this better than anyone. They've done it before. So that's a terrifying pop. Dallas was 19-26 at one point, and I think they're going to finish the year with 23 wins. At the 45 game mark, they're literally going to finish the year 4-41. All right, let's go to Trends Monday. I mean, I don't know what to say about it. Like, it is what it is. Dallas is committed to the task, shall we say. All right, let's go last 10 games. These get interesting this time of year. We've actually had some really good NBA games. Spurs are the hottest team in the NBA, 9-1 with a 14 differential. Charlotte continues. They're 6-4 now. But the second best, Boston with Jason Tatum back 8-2. Miami with Tyler Hero back has clicked in. Keep an eye on Miami. And Desmond Bane is on fire and carrying Orlando. And they're the 5th best team in the NBA. New York is 6 after getting hammered last night. The bottom 5 teams are Brooklyn, Indiana, Sacramento, Dallas, Milwaukee, and Washington. Jazz are 20th. And Chicago there. Top 5 offensive teams over the last 10 games. Charlotte still number 1. Miami 2. There it is. San Antonio 3. Boston 4. Lakers 5. Got everybody back. And New Orleans is 6th offensively in the NBA over the last 10 games. Clippers are 7th. So the Clippers got rid of James Harden and their offense got better. How's that for weird? Teams are having a hard time scoring. Chicago, Brooklyn, Dallas, Portland, Phoenix, 76ers, and the Kings. Yeah, the bottom's going to be the same. Portland in there is interesting. Portland's not supposed to be in there. Defensively, the top team in the NBA again is Oklahoma City, followed by Orlando, Boston, New York, San Antonio, and Atlanta. So Atlanta got rid of Kristaps Porzingis, made some trades. Now Dyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker wrecking havoc. And they got rid of Trae Young, and they are suddenly 7-3 in their last 10 and very good defensively. Brooklyn, teams that are not defending, Brooklyn, Indiana, Washington, Kings, Bucks, Grizzlies, Dallas. Jazz are 20th in defense recently. We've started to defend. So the big takeaway there is Orlando is back to defending. Miami's offense is back. Those are worth keeping an eye on. The Eastern Conference is really terrible, though. Boy, it's crazy to go play Philadelphia. They're injured and play Milwaukee. Milwaukee was supposed to be good. That was crazy. They were legitimately terrible. All right, last 2 weeks, more recent trends. Atlanta's the hottest team in the NBA. They're the number one offense and the number one defense in the NBA over the last 2 weeks. Charlotte's number 2. Boston, 3. 6th best offense, 4th best defense. San Antonio, 4. 7-1. They've played 8 games. 5th best offense, 6th best defense. And the Lakers are 5-3, and they're 4th best offense and 8th best defense. It's interesting is we really have a separation here. Is all the best offenses are also all the best defenses right now. Like everyone, the teams have really clicked in. The only one, Oklahoma City's offense is not very good right now. 2nd best defense, 21st offensively. Minnesota's offense struggling again, 24th offensively, 9th defensively. But otherwise, all the top offensive teams, Atlanta 1-1, Charlotte 2 offense, 10 defense, Boston 6 offense, 4 defense, San Antonio 5 offense, 6 defense, LA 4 offense, 8 defense, Clippers 7 offense, 5 defense. So all the top teams doing it, all the bottom teams doing what they're doing. Indiana, Washington, Brooklyn, Dallas, Milwaukee, and Utah are the teams that are in the bottom of this thing. And all of them are bottom 5 or 6 in both. Indiana's 28th offensively, 30th defensively. They have really pulled it. Got to make sure they keep that pick because if they lose it in the middle on the Zubac trade. Washington's 27th and 29th. Brooklyn's 26th and 28th. Dallas cannot score. They're 30th and 24th. The Jazz are 22nd and 25th. So we're actually playing a little better than everyone else, which I'm sure you're aware. That is our Trends Monday. That is Locked on Jazz. If you'd like to be part of the All Access team, get one-on-one direct emails with me, get notes during the games, get pregame notes, all sorts of little fun things from me, get Leaf Tuline's bonus content on the draft, part of our Discord channel, ad-free Locked on Jazz, ad-free Locked on Sports Today, access to the merchandise store, and 15% off. That's $15 a month. Promo code JJJ gets you a month off. Annual gets you 2 months off. It's all at lockedonjazz.supercast.com. That's lockedonjazz.supercast.com. We'd love to have you be a part of the Everydayer All Access program. Thank you very much for tuning in. Be the ultimate fan. Get all access. Get all the bonus stuff. It'll be really fun when all the rumors and trades and everything else take place. We'll just be always dropping you notes on that. That's lockedonjazz.supercast.com. You can follow me on socials at DLock09. If you're coming to the game tonight, download the Event Sound app and get a little fun with our arena cast for you, exclusive only on Jazz Broadcast. Thanks for tuning in. Glad to have you aboard. This has been Locked on Jazz, part of the Locked on Podcast Network. We now send you the first ever national 24/7 NBA channel, Locked on NBA. And on audio, we send you to go grab Locked on NBA game night, every game, every night, plus the big 3 and 30.